and the killing occurred after Beckley and a friend were dragged off a bus on which they tried to escape from a fight with a rival gang of teddy boys. An eyewitness observed the attack from the front seat on the top deck. The murder weapon was never found. 6 young men were tried for murder and 4 were acquitted, although they were found guilty of lesser crimes. The jury was unable to agree on a verdict concerning the other 2 defendants, and ultimately 1 was acquitted and convicted of common assault. And then there was one Michael John Davis. Amidst a blaze of publicity, he was retried, convicted, and sentenced to death. He was reprieved by the Home Secretary and ultimately served 7 years in prison. He died in 1992, the same year as Symons, and in 2018 his case was investigated in the BBC One series Murder, Mystery and My Family. 2 barristers looked into the case and emphasised their concerns about witness statements taken by a detective constable, Kenneth Drury, who eventually rose through the ranks to become commander of the flying squad, only to be convicted of corruption in 1977. The question was whether Drury's involvement was in itself enough to taint the conviction as unsound, and in the programme a retired judge opined that it was not. However, there remained strong reasons to believe that Symons' instinct about the case was correct, and that the murder conviction was a miscarriage of justice. In any event, as Symons said, life is not fiction, but the raw material of fiction. I shifted the locale of the crime, changed many details, and decided to show the whole thing through the medium of a young reporter on a provincial paper. This proved difficult because, although I have worked for many papers as reviewer, I have never worked in a newspaper office. His solution was to arrange to spend a few weeks in the office of a morning newspaper in Bristol, undertaking the sort of jobs that come the way of a young reporter, going to magistrates' courts, evaluation court, and so on. I didn't actually write any stories. He added that this hands-on experience had the odd corollary that one of the reporters on the Bristol paper was moved to write crime stories, the first of which was published in the UK and the US under the name of Anthony Decker. Decker's output as a crime novelist was, however, modest, comprising a lurid thriller, Temptation in a Private Zoo, and a novel, Diver's Diamonds, published under the same imprint as this book originally, Colin's Crime Club. How many crime writers, then or now, would go to quite the same lengths as Symons in the interest of researching their novel? His meticulous approach paid off, as the book won the Edgar Allan Poe Award in 1961. The other nominees were Peter Curtis for The Devil's Own, Herbert Breen for The Traces of Brilhart, and Geoffrey Household for Watcher in the Shadows. In Britain, the novel was also a runner-up to Lionel Davidson's The Knight of Wenceslas for the CWA Gold Dagger. The British Library's decision to include as a bonus Symons's The Tigers of Subtopia gives me particular pleasure, since I chose this short story to represent his work in Mysterious Pleasures, an anthology celebrating the 50th anniversary of the formation of the Crime Writers Association, of which he was a founder member in 1953 and former chairman. The story first appeared in Ellery Queen's Mystery magazine in 1965. 3 years later, Symons adapted it for ITV, and the screen version provided an early lead role for Geoffrey Palmer as Bradley Fawcett. Subsequently, it became the lead story in The Tigers of Subtopia and Other Stories, a collection which Symons published in 1982. Like The Progress of a Crime, it's not a detective puzzle in the Golden Age vein, but it offers a picture of petty crime and social mores in the 60s.